Well, thank you very, very much, Mario. And my first task is to apologize for speaking in English, while thanking you for tolerating me, because at the top of my list of thank yous with this book is, of course, thanking the Italian people for welcoming so warmly this annoying foreigner with his weaknesses, particularly with your wonderful language, but also his annoying questions about your wonderful country, sometimes implying that not everything is wonderful, but looking for the things that are very good. I do want to thank Mayor Chiamparino for his warm welcome for the book, as well as his excellent summary of the book, and to all those who have also already introduced the book, Alessandro Fusacchia and Francesco Lucisano, who I misspell as Lucicano in the gratitudine, in the ringraziamente section, for introducing things so beautifully. And, of course, I want to thank Mario for introducing me, but also for all of the panel for taking time to be here today, which I say 3 or 4 times as heartily to you, the audience, for coming here. This story of this book is like La mia storia italiana, my journey around Italy. This story began probably 9 years ago, when I published a cover of The Economist, which some of you might remember, which mentioned someone who still happens to be your Prime Minister. But in this journey that I began a year ago, I was looking for something different. If I could have the next slide. I was looking for inspirations. Where did I look for inspirations? First, as Mayor Chiamparino noted, Torino. Why Torino? Well, Torino because of Count Camillo Benso di Cavour, because of the history of your country, because of the 150th anniversary that you are beginning to celebrate next year, but also because Torino is an inspiring story. A story about how a place which looked like it was in a kind of inevitable decline, a decline thanks to economics, to changing industrial structures and demands, to ideological conflict, to terrorism, to all of these features, and of course to politics and huge financial debts. After the book was published, I got a very nice email from Valentino Castellani, who was in the audience behind, Mayor Chiamparino's predecessor, in which Valentino said to me that when he began his adventure as the first directly elected mayor of Torino in 1993, he thought then that Torino was like Italy today, where the majority party was the party of pessimists, the party of those who think that decline is inevitable, and that the minority party were those who thought that this could be changed, that even if it couldn't be changed, the right thing was to try to change it. But in fact it could be changed, and the minority party won in this city. Another reason I begin with Torino, and this begins my way of introducing why every member of the panel is here, is that the chapter on Torino opens with a little comment about a dinner at Del Cambio, Ristorante Del Cambio. And my generous host that evening is with us tonight. It was John Elkann, I can disclose. And he was the one who sat me at the table of Count de Cavour and started that inspiration. Next slide, please. So here I was driving around not actually driving around Torino, but in one of John's cars, and with Count de Cavour behind me. Next slide. As well as inspiration, I was also looking for hope. So next slide. For hope, I went to the hopeless cause. Could I have the next slide? I went to Sicily. I went to the south. I went and visited Planeta winery. But also, I looked for signs of energy, signs of change, signs of youthful rebellion, signs that the historical problems of the South might be producing some kind of a counterattack. In particular, I felt excited by the movements of young people, the Addio Pizzo movement in Palermo, the Ammazzateci Tutti movement in Calabria, collective action by young people to fight against organized crime. Also, I was inspired by business, and that's why Ivano Lobello is here this evening. I was inspired by talking about the role of the state in Sicily and by the need to push back the state and for business to grasp the market and to seize the market and treat the market as its guiding principle. Of course, for someone who worked for 26 years at a publication like The Economist, for which the market is God, this was, of course, a rather welcome conversation, as I'm sure Mr. Lobello can remember. Next slide, please. Furthermore, I wanted to find ambition, a sense that in Italian life, in Italian society, in Italian companies, there was not just a desire to build a company as a kind of secret garden, a beautiful garden that is all your own garden, but rather an ambition to seize the opportunities of globalization, to take on the world and to show what Italians can do. Next slide, please.